Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Harry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And I'm going to start with an announcement. Attention, your attention please. And yes, I realize I started intentionally trying to sound like Eminem there, but then I forgot whatever the rest of the thing is after he says your attention please. So this week there may or may not be an Ask Me Anything, and if there is, it will likely be on Thursday. I say that because, well, I realized that I've got sort of some, not necessarily scheduling conflicts, but I might have to wind up picking some people up from the airport at the time that I normally record, and I may or may not have to make another trip to Manchester on Thursday, so that's why I said if there is, it might come out on Thursday. It all really depends on how the schedule winds up working out, but if not, well, I'll be back next Monday. And then the following Friday, there definitely will be an Ask Me Anything. So you can always send those questions, ama.fppradio.com. So you might be asking, well, Darryl, why are you having to run to Manchester? Why are you having to pick people up from the airport? Well, the Libertarian Party State Convention is coming up this weekend, and there are things that I need to take to the convention chair. Some of them I don't have yet. The one package should arrive late on Wednesday. I won't be able to take it Wednesday night because I'm on Free Talk Live, so I will have to take it on Thursday. And if I take it on Thursday, then that will interfere with the time I go to the gym, and I may or may not, depending on what time I wind up getting there and getting back, I may or may not have time to record a show before either getting in a run or just have to go straight into Free Talk Live. And then on Friday, I may or may not have to be picking up speakers. I don't really know yet. So, yeah, again, I might or might not have an Ask Me Anything towards the end of the week. So, that said, let's jump into what I wanted to talk about today, which is self-esteem. And I stumbled across this article, and when I first saw the headline, I was like, haven't I talked about this one before? But nope. The published date on this article is March 26th of 2018, and I know I haven't covered it since. Article comes from lifehack.org, and let's just jump into it. The author here begins, self-esteem is a driving force behind our confidence, how we see and feel about ourselves, and encompasses our sense of value, significance, and self-worth. Research has shown that over 80% of people struggle with varying levels of low self-esteem. Yet having a solid sense of self-esteem has the chance to positively impact and powerfully transform every area of your life, from your relationships to your career, from your health and well-being to your fulfillment and levels of success. A deep feeling of self-esteem is something that needs to grow and be nurtured over time. The author says in this article, or I should say in this podcast, we will go over things that we can do right now to improve self-esteem. And the author says, then you will realize your hidden potential and self-worth. So what is self-esteem? Well, the dictionary defines it as confidence in one's own worth or abilities, self-respect. Put simply, self-esteem is the overall sense or feeling that you have about your own self-worth or self-value. Self-esteem and self-confidence are not the same thing. Self-confidence is more about how you feel about your abilities, and that will vary from situation to situation. You can have great self-esteem, feeling good about yourself overall, but low self-confidence about a particular situation or event, i.e., public speaking. Or maybe you've got great self-confidence in a certain area, a sport that you play, but you have low self-esteem overall. I would say that I tend to fall in that latter category. A strong and solid sense of self-esteem comes from deep within, from a belief in your importance, your value, and your worthiness. So where does low self-esteem come from? Low self-esteem can stem from many areas. It is largely influenced by how other people see and treat us, from our relationships, and that's why the influence of our parents has the most significant impact on our self-esteem. The author here has 4 different places, if you will, that low self-esteem comes from. We will go through these right now. An unhappy childhood. Those who grew up with critical, abusive, or neglectful parents are more likely to face challenges with their overall self-worth, while those who experienced acceptance, approval, and affection are more likely to have a higher sense of self-value. Or maybe you've had traumatic experiences. Lower levels of self-esteem can also stem from bad experiences or traumatic events, such as something that somebody said to you or something that someone did. Essentially, it can stem from anything that has brought up feelings of shame, guilt, or a lack of worth. Low self-esteem can also come from experiences of failure. For some, low self-esteem is connected to their success and accomplishments or lack thereof, including experiences of failure, not achieving a goal, or an expectation. And in many cases, it comes from negative self-talk. Now, I'm going to pause to say that sometimes the negative self-talk is because of the previous 3 items. Many cases of low self-esteem are perpetuated by negative self-talk. This could be a story that you've created about yourself or that someone else has created for you long ago that you continue to believe. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
This is Will Coley of the Call to Freedom, and you're listening to Darryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. We'll continue with the article about self-esteem in just a moment. But before we do, I know I answer your questions on Friday, but right now I've got one for you. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you use and promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? If so, then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal. Spend-A-Bit is the search engine for things you can buy, you guessed it, with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin accepting merchant like I am, Ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. So we just went over the list of 4 places that low self-esteem can come from or be perpetuated by. That's having an unhappy childhood, having traumatic experiences, which may or may not also include that unhappy childhood, experiences of failure, again, which could wind up being a traumatic experience connected to, or, these could all be connected. They might not be connected. And the 4th one is negative self-talk. Again, this perpetuates the low self-esteem. And a lot of times the negative self-talk is because of one or more of the previous 3 items. The article here continues, and yes, the link will be in the show notes. The article continues, maybe for you, like for many others, low self-esteem is rooted in your feelings about your appearance or body image. It's not just about how you look, it's how you feel about how you look. We are bombarded with messages from early age about being too fat, too thin, too short, too tall, too much of anything, really, or not enough of something else. So, what happens when you lack self-esteem? Low self-esteem can lead to significant physical and mental issues, including anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and addiction. In fact, research shows that adolescents who suffer from low self-esteem grew up to have more physical and mental problems, higher rates of criminal convictions, lower earnings, and challenges with long-term unemployment. On the flip side, a strong sense of self-esteem, and again, self-esteem and self-confidence, not the same things. A strong sense of self-esteem will help you experience greater health and well-being, better relationships, and higher levels of happiness, fulfillment, and success. One study even correlated high levels of self-esteem with higher earning potential. Now, how do you assess your self-esteem? The author here continues, individuals with low or compromised self-esteem can see themselves as inadequate, incompetent, or even unlovable. While they often know at a conscious level that these things aren't true, they still feel them deep within. That's what makes challenges with self-esteem so tricky. It's not about what the reality is, but it's about the perception. Those with low self-esteem may appear socially withdrawn or quiet, negative, insecure, indecisive, unhappy, or sometimes even angry. They're more likely to find themselves in unhealthy relationships, have a fear of failure, and worry about what other people think. On the other hand, those with high self-esteem, more often than not, feel a strong sense of self-worth and value, feelings of confidence and acceptance. They tend to find themselves in healthy relationships and get rid of the bad ones. They take care of themselves and are more resilient when faced with setbacks, obstacles, and failures. In general, they tend to stand up more for what they believe in and aren't afraid to speak their minds. Self-esteem can be measured on a scale from high to low. While too little has its obvious downsides, you can also have too much. Those with an overly strong sense of self-esteem may appear cocky, narcissistic, or self-important. And then there's an infographic that illustrates the difference between people with high self-esteem and people with low self-esteem. And there are a bunch of words here that if I get a chance, I might come back and read back over and compare some of the things here on the high versus low self-esteem chart. But continuing on with the article, How to Build Self-Esteem. And the author here has a step-by-step guide, which is not something you normally see. Normally, it'll just be, well, just feel better about yourself. Okay, yeah, that's easier said than done. Just don't be sad. Again, easier said than done. But here, step-by-step guide. Self-esteem issues essentially are found in the gap between who you presently are and who you think you should be. Paradoxically, most causes of low self-esteem stem from how others see or treat you, yet the solution to increasing your self-esteem is something that needs to come from inside, not outside. Building your self-esteem is not an easy task. The author says, while I wish I could wave a magic wand for you, what I've learned is that building and nurturing your self-esteem takes time, but it is a worthwhile investment. Once you've done the work, you'll reap the many rewards and benefits for a lifetime. Below are some great strategies to start your journey. Number 1, get to the root cause. What are the real issues here? Identify the real issues, the root causes for your low self-esteem. And that's one of the most important things you can do to build it back up. The author says we named many of the reasons above. Many of them in particular, maybe one of them in particular resonated with you. Perhaps your parents said you were never good enough or that you wouldn't amount to anything. Author says, I work with clients all the time who share stories of their parents' behavior and the significant impact it has had on their self-esteem. Whatever experiences you may have had and whatever the root issue might be for you, the author says, I strongly recommend you get someone to support you through the process to identify and deal with it. Maybe find a counselor, a therapist, a coach, or someone who is trained in helping uncover and address these traumas, past experiences, and root issues. These folks have proven tools, tactics, and strategies, and best of all, they help you experiment in a safe space. There is more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
This is Darryl W. Perry, host of Free Talk Live. This November, I'll be running in the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, and I've accepted a spot on Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. Since 1989, 353 people in the United States have been exonerated by DNA testing, including 38 who pled guilty to crimes they did not commit, and 20 of whom served time on death row. The Innocence Project provided direct representation or critical assistance in 180 of these cases. With your help, the Innocence Project can help even more people who have been wrongly convicted. As part of Team Innocence Project, I am raising awareness about wrongful convictions and raising funds to help free the innocent. I've already paid the race registration fees. However, to secure my spot on Team Innocence Project in the New York City Marathon, I need to raise $3,500 by November 1st. You can support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry by going to run.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. We'll jump back into the article here in just a moment, where we are talking about how to build up self-esteem, especially for people who may have low self-esteem. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about a wonderful technology that is built on something called ZK Snarks, which is a zero-knowledge technology. Talking about Zencash. They have end-to-end encryption that can be used for communications, data, or value, where you can securely transmit it or store it. And this number is old, 8,500 secure nodes. Last I looked, they're well over 10,000, and I think it was approaching 12,000 secure nodes. That makes Zencash one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. And the Zencash wallet is available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Jumping back into the article here again from Lifehack, and yes, the link will be in the show notes, talking about the step-by-step ways to build up your self-esteem. Step number 1 is to get to the root cause. And then see yourself as others see you. The author says, see yourself as others see you, and talk to yourself as others talk to you. And then I'm glad the author asks and answers this question. What exactly do I mean? Think about the person who loves you the most in the world, the person that loves you unconditionally. Now, take a moment, zoom out, and imagine you're standing in their shoes and watching through their eyes. Look from their perspective and see yourself as they see you. What do you notice about yourself? What would you say to you? What do they love about you? What do they see in you? And then, do your best. Simple advice is often the best advice. When you do your best and place your full effort into each and every day, you start to feel better about yourself. Now, as your best might change from day to day, and some days your best won't be as good as it was the day before, but that's okay. It's important to remind yourself that you are doing the best you can with what you have right now at this moment. When you know you've done your best, you have no regrets and nothing about which to feel bad or guilty. If you do your best and then someone criticizes you, it's easier to brush it off knowing that you did the best you can. The author says, I ask my clients and myself this question all the time, whether we're ruminating over something they've said, thinking about what they could have done better, or just disappointed about an outcome they hope to achieve. Did you do your best? If the answer is yes, there's nothing more you can do. If you did your best, there is nothing more you can do. Doesn't matter how things turned out. If you did your best, there's nothing else you can do in that situation. Number 4, engage in activities that satisfy you. The key word here is satisfy. Find things that give you a deep sense of satisfaction, a feeling of fullness and purpose. Too often we engage in activities and relationships that leave us feeling self-conscious, empty, or terrible about ourselves. It's time to put more focus, time, and effort to do those things that feel good for our body, mind, and spirit, and to engage in things that make us feel whole and full. Identify what satisfies you mentally. Solving a big problem, creating something new. What satisfies you emotionally? Hanging out with friends, volunteering. What satisfies you physically? Exercising, eating right, taking care of your body. And what satisfies you spiritually? Meditating, going to your place of worship, etc. When you engage in something that makes you feel good, and even more importantly, that makes you feel worthwhile, you will experience greater self-esteem. Number 5, identify who you are and be true to you. Self-awareness and a little soul-searching are critical to your success in life and your self-esteem. In some cases, lack of self-esteem stems from a lack of knowing who you truly are and the things the value that you bring. Many of us have spent time trying to fit in and please that we've completely lost our sense of self. Spend time getting to know yourself. Take time to identify who you are. Some things to think about include identifying your strengths and talents, acknowledging your value and worth and uncovering your passions, understanding your values and what's important to you, thinking about how you want to serve or contribute to the world, and acknowledging your blind spots. Number 6 on the list, and there's a few more after this. Number 6 is to accept yourself. Make the decision to accept the imperfectly perfect you. There's more written here, but we're running short on time, so I will speed through. Stop comparing yourself. When you let others push you around, put everyone else's need before your own, or cave in to what everyone else wants because you don't want to rock the boat, it lowers your self-esteem. You're putting their needs ahead of yours, and your mind thinks to itself, I guess I'm not that important. There's definitely more written here under number 7 that I will skip, but like I said, the link will be in the show notes. You can read it at your leisure. Stay tuned. There's more in the closing moments on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. Going over a list of steps you can take to build up your self-esteem. And there's quite a few more to go through, and I'm going to have to speed through this. Again, number 7 on the list was stop comparing yourself to others. Number 8 is to look for the good. We tend to find what we're looking for. Put simply, people tend to, often unconsciously, look for things that reinforce what they already believe to be true. The same goes for how you see yourself. If you believe that you're worthless or unlovable, you will find data to back that belief up. However, if you believe you are worthwhile and beautiful or courageous and strong, you will soon find data to back that up as well. Continuing on, jumping down to number 9, stop the negative self-talk. Much of your belief system comes from the negative story that you keep telling yourself. Your mind believes what you tell it, and if the story you're playing over and over and over again in your mind is one of the worthless mistakes you've made, that's what you will continue to reinforce and strengthen in your belief system. Tell yourself you're worthless and incapable, your mind will believe it. Tell yourself you are able and awesome, your mind will believe that too. What's the saying? If you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. Number 10, find your tribe. And I realize the word tribe might wind up triggering some libertarians. And then using the word trigger to describe their reaction is also going to trigger them because they think it only applies to supposed social justice warriors. But no. There's a bunch of libertarians that get easily triggered as well. Continuing on from my digression, since so much of our self-esteem is influenced by our relationship and how others see and treat us, it's even more critical that you surround yourself with healthy, uplifting, encouraging, supporting people. Now, I'm not saying that you need to surround yourself with a bunch of Pollyannas who constantly throw sparkles and compliments your way. It has to be sincere to be true. Now, I don't agree with throwing sparkles at people because, that might wind up getting in their eye or something, but sincere compliments, throw those all day long. Number 11, take chances. Many great minds have shared that failure has been the key to their success, the stepping stone to their greatness and the catalyst to their growth. Number 12, find meaning and create goals. As humans, we all need to learn, develop, and grow and contribute. When you're suffering from low self-esteem, this can create a vicious cycle. As I said, the link will be in the show notes. There's much more to cover. And I may or may not be here on Friday with an Ask Me Anything, ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.